Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michał Futyra. I'm an academic teacher and a business advisor, also business trainer. I have been involved in intercultural communication and international negotiation and mediation process at least almost 20 years from now. As a trainer and a business advisor, I help my client to improve collaboration with culturally different partners. And because this cultural differences from time to time, it's problematic. So this is my role to give the advices and trying to help them with in this case. I'm also one of the trainer at Creator, a company that I have a pleasure of working with. At the Creator, during every training session, we try to provide participants the best of practical knowledge. And today I will share with you this type of knowledge, especially I had the pleasure to work for several months in India, and we will talk about the India today. So one more information. This is our third meeting after two movies about cooperation with Indonesian and Filipinos partner. This time, like I said, I will take you to very short travel throughout the fascinating topic of about collaboration with Indian co-workers. As a previous, we will try to find the several answers for important question, and the most important of them is, of course, how to improve communication and cooperation between you as a leaders usually and your colleagues, co-workers, contributors from the India. So don't waste the time, and let's start. At the beginning, some short information about the India, like always, I can say. So one of the famous, influential Indian businessman and millionaire, Kishore Biani, once said that logic and emotion, individuality and the social feeling, poverty and affluence, life and lifestyle, value and indulgence, and the past and the future simultaneously coexist in India. All these paradoxes coverage to make India what it is. And Biani, in this sentence, Biani refer one of the most vibrant characteristic of Indian and the Indian people. I mean, Indian culture and the Indian people. This country and its people are difficult to classify in one, let's say, simple way. Understanding this many of different paradoxes is a key to successfully collaborating with Indians and in their business culture, where centuries of heritage met cutting edge innovation in almost every sector, every sphere of life. Basic information about the India. So the country is sovereign, secular, and democratic, truly democratic republic with a federal structure. It is led by Prime Minister, who right now is from the years is actually Narendra Modi. You can see his photo in the right side of this slide. Narendra Modi is a prime minister from BJP party, and he ruled the India almost 11 years, so it's a long time. India has also president, but this figure is more representative and, let's say, more symbolic than the real influential politic. Since 2022, the president of the India is Draupadi Murmu, the first lady, the first person belonging of a tribe community in history, in Indian history, and also the second woman to hold the presidential office. So because of that, it's good to know this information. And also you can say that you know some influential figure, political figure, when you meet your friends. So it's also good topic to small talk with your Indian friends. In 2023, India became the world's most populous nation at over 1,420 more to 20 people, and it's bigger than the China's society. The economy has grown to be the fifth largest globally, making India one of the faster growing major economies in the world. Equally important, sorry, is India's extraordinary cultural diversity, dozens of ethnic communities and languages. About the languages, we will tell a little more for the second, but this ethnic and the linguistic mosaic means Indian workers may come from very different background, and it's also difficult to set or difficult to describe one, let's say, model of Indian workers. Because if we talk about the India, we need also remember about the scales. This country is like almost like a continent, like the name is Indian subcontinent, so it's huge. And when we try to imagine the correct way how big India is and how to understand the scale, it's also good to think that all separate province, Indian province, actually 20, almost 5, 26 province, actually they are, each of them is like a country because each province have their own government, they have own parliament, and yeah, and they are and under this regional governance, we have also federal government. But when we imagine how big and how organized is this country, it's better to it's easier to understand the differences between the regions, because when we met someone, when the Indians met each other from north and the south, so they can be totally different people. In India's diversity as also extend to religion, customs, and social norms. The society is predominantly Hindu. Around 72% of the people who are living inside India are Hindu, but also includes large Muslim, Christian, Sikhs, and other religion communities we can find there. Each group and each region and religion it have own festivals, let's say, own foods and traditions, and such diversity underpins India's unity and diversity ethos. But it also means there is no single Indian way of, let's say, of communication, because the context, in this case, context have matter. Context matter, sorry. With a nominal GPD ranging between 3.4, 3.5 trillion US dollars, so it's huge. India's economy is as robust as it is diverse. Key industries such as informational technology, textiles, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, automotive, biotechnology, telecoms, and agriculture not only drive domestic growth, but also carve out a formidable presence in the global market. So India's strategic export portfolio includes refined petroleum, gems and jewelry, pharmaceuticals, also textiles, also chemicals, and a broad array of engineering goods. Indian major trading partners are USA, China, the United Arab Emirates, and the United European Union. Also, Saudi Arabia highlights its integral role in international commerce. So India is one of the vibrant and the most important national economy in the world, in fact. Beyond its economic might, India is celebrated for its enduring cultural legacy, from the ancient wisdom of yoga or famous Ayurveda to groundbreaking contributions of mathematics and science. India's intellectual and spiritual heritage continues to inspire we can say, inspire modern world. Moreover, and it's good to know when we think about the most oldest, the ancient civilization. So we have two such with so long history. The first one is Confucian civilization, so it's China, and the second one is, of course, Indian civilization. So yeah, it shows us how old this civilization is and how proud Indians are when they talk about the history, about the past culture, and everything what is involved with these topics. Okay, and a couple of words about the linguistics landscape. India's linguistic landscape is one of the most, let's say, diverse in the world. Imagine this: if you pick any two Indians at random, there is around 64, 65% chance that they won't understand each other because they will speak totally different languages. So this is hardly surprising given that India recognized around 121 different languages, including 22 of them are official ones, and there is more than 1,300 dialects. So historically, when you look on the map, what you can see the linguistic map on the slide. So historically, the Sanskrit from the Indo-European family and the Tamil from the Dravidian family symbolize India's deep linguistic roots. So the Sanskrit languages, they are so the languages differences divide India to for the two parts. The first one, the Sanskrit languages like Hindi, Gujarati, Marathi, Punjabi, Bengali, Odia. This is the first part, and the second part, the Dravidian family languages like Kannada, Telugu, Konkani, Tamil, or Malayalam. So they are organized in a totally different way. And also, this division show us so this situation that in fact in India, when we talk about from the historical point of view, when we talk about the India, so we should remember that we have two main different area of the subcontinent. And if you speak English with someone who speaks, for example, in the Sanskrit languages, understanding the pronunciation will be difficult, but it will be possible. But if you, from the other hand, if we interacting with someone who speaks languages from the Dravidian group, understanding the English pronunciation will be much, much more difficult. Important is that the English often serve as a practical link language across subcontinent, reflecting India's also global connections. According to the EF English Proficiency Index, India ranks 60th out of 113 countries, highlighting a moderate yet growing level of English influency. For comparison, Poland is pretty high in this index because our rank is 13th place, so it's pretty high. When we talk about the language, we also need to remember it's good to know about one more thing. So we should add one more thing. Indians often speak a mixture of English and the Hindi, resulting in something what we call Hinglish. So Hinglish became a hallmark of modern communication in India. It mixes vocabulary, grammar, and expressions from both English and Hindu languages, making conversation more relatable and culturally resonate, especially among younger generations. So if you meet or if you will collaborate with someone who use English, it will be probably take you a while before you begin to understand each other properly. Usually people, Indians who are work abroad, they trying to use English words mainly, but from time to time you can hear some totally strange different words, and if you hear that words, that probably will be Hindu. And here you can say I add some example of English sentences. For example, if you say in English, I'm busy right now, I will call you later. In English, you will say like, mein abi buzihun, call you later. Or English sentence, I need some time to finish this work. And in English, that will sound like, mach je thoda time hajie to finish this work. So like you see, like you hear, it's a pretty difficult to understand something in English for us, for people who are not Indians. And also, if you are Indian people and if you don't do not use the Hindi, it's also difficult to understand anything. All right, and the last information about the India, because we can talk about the Indian modern time and the history for long hours, but it's not the case. India is the world's largest democracy with a really truly free press and an independent judiciary that ensure vibrant public debate and accountability. This democratic spirit emerged in part from over 2 centuries of the British colonial rule, which influenced India's governments, legal systems, let's say, and the prominence of English. Of course, when we talk about the British colonial rules, they have the bright and the dark sides. Most of them are unfortunately dark, but this colonial time gives somehow modern India the political system, which is, like I said, truly democratic. Defining a chapter of in Indian history, it is a struggle for independence led by famous figure like Mahatma Gandhi, who championed nonviolent resistance, an approach that still resonate in India's social and political fabric. Religious pluralism is also at the heart of the Indian society, with Hinduism, Buddhism, which Buddhism was born in India, Jainism, Sikhism, or Islam and Christianity, and this all religions are coexist often side by side. From time to time, we have some information that, let's say, some Hinduists attacked the Muslims, but when we remember how big India is and how not often this situation took place, I think it's still very peaceful society when we want to characterize somehow Indians. Agriculture remains a cornerstone of the economy, employing a significant percent of the population. This is still agrarian society. Of course, from the media, we hear that it's a truly developing country, technological advance, and this is true. But also, we need to remember that it's agriculture is the biggest part of the national economy. So if we know that between 42 to 50% of the employed Indians work in agriculture, that show us the true character of the economy. They need to, let's say, growing for next 10, 20 years to be the better or well developed country. When collaborating with the Indian partners, recognizing these historical influences and the cultural and economical values can foster stronger relationships. So understanding that the diversity and the depth of the India social and cultural landscape is not only helps in effective communication, but also paves the way for a more meaningful long-term partnership. One of the interesting case when you talk about the India is probably everyone are interested in these topics. I mean the Indian caste system. So the first, let's explain what is the caste system, in fact, in modern India, and what it is it the impact for everyday life activity. First of all, we need to remember like the name, the caste system is incorrect because the castes are not the main group. You can see here this the most vibrant the most important five, in fact, four, not caste, but jati. So we can explain that like our classes, let's say, but from the beginning. The caste system is a traditional social hierarchy in India that assigns people to the different social group by birth. This is the first thing. The second thing is that it originated to in ancient Hindu society and was tied to ideas of ritual purity and occupation. And in simple terms, it divided society into fixed classes that one is born into and typically remains part of the life. If you born in one jati, this class, so you will spend there all your life. So key features of caste include its hereditary nature. You inherit your parents' castes and endogamy. So people traditionally marry within their own castes. And these caste groups come with social rituals about status and also interactions. So historically, dictating one's profession, whom they could dine with, and other aspects of people's life. Like you see in the graphics, there are five main categories. I mean, four jati, castes, let's say, and one group who are living without the caste or outside the caste. And Brahmin, priests and scholars, this is traditionally the highest caste. The next one is Kshatriya, rulers and warriors, the second tier of the hierarchy. Kshatriya today, they working in army, on police, for example. Vaishya is a third one, traders, merchants, and farmers. So this is the third group in the classical order. And fourth group, Shudras, so laborers and service farmers, the lowest of the four main castes or jati. And these four main jati, they divided into the castes. So it's semi-groups inside the class. And of course, we have one more group, Dalits. Dalits also named untouchables. So people outside the four jati caste system, historically oppressed and relegated to the most stigmatized and menial jobs. So Dalits, word by word, means oppressed, is the term many use today for those ones called untouchables. And formally, India has outlawed caste discrimination. In Indian constitution, adopted in the 1950, banned the practice of untouchability, caste-based oppression of Dalits, and made it illegal, let's say, to discriminate anyone based on caste division. However, and in fact, caste continues to influence social relations in a subtle ways, let's say. So many Indians are still conscious of caste identities, especially in personal matters like marriage or family gatherings or politics. So, for instance, families often consider caste when they arranging the marriages, and people may casually know someone's caste or jati from their last name or hometown, from the place that they birth. And why I tell so many things about the caste system, because when you cooperating with Indian colleagues, there's a little cultural sensitivity goes a long way. So here are some in the slide you can see some practical do's and don'ts to keep in mind. So the first thing is to treat every colleague as an individual and with equal respect. Focus on professional rules, skills, and personality, not the caste or background. And maybe this is super clear, but from time to time we do not remember about this. So don't ask someone also directly about the caste. In fact, avoid prying into caste at all, because for many Indians, caste is a sensitive and very personal matter, asking one's income or age. So questions like "What caste are you?" Or trying to guess someone's caste from their perspective can make people uncomfortable or even offended. So we need to be very subtle in this topic. Do be mindful of hierarchy and courtesy. Indian colleagues generally appreciate polite form of address and deference in the right situations. So, for example, if you are addressing an older Indian team member or a higher ranking manager, it doesn't hurt to be, let's say, a bit more formal than be informal from the beginning. So don't make any jokes and remarks that single out castes or any region or religion. Even if you heard from your Indian colleagues some jokes among themselves about stereotypes, for example, oh, he's a Punjabi, he's allowed, or if you are Brahmin, so you are pure vegetarian. So stay away from that and outsider. What might be an internal joke can be offensive if repeated without context when they hear these jokes from the mouths of people who are not Indians. So be very sensitive when we talk about this topic, the caste system, and this all thing what it means when we talk about this social connections. All right. Now, like in the previous movies, let's consider cultural differences in the context of collaboration with our Indian coworkers. And because of that, we will compare elementary cultural scales to catch similarities and differences. Sorry, in daily everyday collaborations. Okay, so first one is basic division. Sorry, is how to establish positive relations between us and our friends. Like in a previous time when we talk about the Indonesia and when we talk about the Filipino, uh, we must start to remember about what means actually or how to build the trust. So Indians they are restrictive relation-based culture. So they established the relations, positive relations based on the trust. So there are few cultures in the world where trust depend on whether they build positive interaction with us and our partners. So the general principles are the same, like Indonesian, like I said, the Filipinos. So we must remember that extend trust at the beginning of our relationship. Indian people often operate with a no credit of trust mindset. So it means that trust isn't automatic given. It must be earned over the time. So to gain the trust, you must prove that you are reliable and a worthy partner through your actions, through your consistency and integrity. If you are the leader, you should hear hard work for trust. So the important is that if you once gain the trust, so it's almost impossible to lose it with your Indian co-workers, with your Indian friends. How to do this? Spend the time with your co-workers, eat meals with them, get to know each other privately, and the most importantly, if you give them your words, always keep it. So that's the main rules that you should remember about. And when you look on the scale, so you can see that there is a Indian culture is the one of the most relationship based trust culture in the world. When we consider in the macro scale, there is a small group of African cultures which are more relationship-based trust. And when we compare that with the Polish culture, So we are much more task-based trust. It means that we need to, so we establish positive relations during the work without this personal, private context. So the differences between us and our Indian friends are huge, and we should remember about this. But don't worry, we also have some good advice, like in the context of India, Indonesia, and the Filipino. So what we should remember about when we talk about these good practices in Indian relational culture, cooperation is conducted on the basis of personal bonds and partnership, like we said. So India is a relationship market where relationships are very table pillars of the business transaction, highly based on trust and continual cultivations, I would say. So an Indian crew is likely to respond positively when a manager, when you takes time to chat informally, remembers personal details like asking about the aging parents or celebrating a festival, and demonstrates the loyalty. Indians often prefer to work with those the new and the trust. So introductions by mutual contacts or spending time to socialize can be crucial. For example, an Indian seafarer may feel more comfortable going the extra mile for a manager who has built a friendly rapport over tea breaks, as opposed to a distinct boss who only issues orders and separates from the crew. Like I said, the relationality is in professional context also means that trust and friendship intertwine with work. So crew members may expect a manager to show human concern, human side, celebrating a birthday on a board or listening to the personal issues about the personal problems as a part of good leadership. It's a part of the good leadership in from the Indian perspective. It's common that business networks include relatives and close friends, since nepotism guarantee trust in an Indian context, of course. So while Western workplaces separate personal and the professional sphere, in India, these two are blended. The two are mixed, and therefore managers should embrace, appreciate personal engagement. So answer the question about your background, ask about theirs to establish what we call camaraderie. However, always remain respectful and don't push overly personal topics if someone seems, let's say, reserved. So also maintaining calm and diplomacy is vital. So showing anger or the direct criticism not only hurts the individuals, but also, and you must remember about this, it's crushed the group harmony. So if a conflict arises, handle it in discreetly and politely and the diplomatic way. In summary, to prioritize relationship building. So it creates a reservoir of the goodwill, I would say, and that will help we will have the teamwork effectively throughout almost any challenges. So yeah, so this is the crucial thing. And the second thing is now how to the communication context, so how to speak to be heard, and a few words about the consequences of the high context communication in India or in Indian culture. So I hope you remember. If not, I will repeat some basic information. Like in other high context cultures, Indians also often express their opinions and ideas very diplomatically and with the humility. So they prefer non-confrontational approach, as coming across an arrogant and over assertive is considered inappropriated. For instance, during a discussion, they may carefully phrase their words to ensure that they don't offend someone or cause discomfort to others. So interrupting when someone is speaking is considered as an insult. A lot of information is not directly provided. That it is why it's important to observe body language, nonverbal communication, reading between the lines, and reading from the silence. When we're talking about the communication context in the context of India, it is necessary to mention a few words about two issues. So the first is Chalta Chai and the crab syndrome, and the second thing is famous Indian nut and yes syndrome. So let's start from the Chalta Chai. What means Chalta Chai? Chalta Chai is informal expression in India that translates roughly it's okay or I will do this. It's difficult to explain what exactly means. So in the context of communication, it reflects a flexible, somehow pragmatic approach, I would say, where perfection isn't always expected. It can apply a certain level of casual acceptance or tolerance of minor imperfections, suggesting that the focus is on getting things done rather than achieving absolute precision. So, for example, if you are the leader, if you are a leader, ask your subordinate or coworkers to do something. There is a possibility that her, or they will make it a sloppy way or do something just so that is done without putting more effort into it. So therefore, it is important also to supervise and check how the task was done. So in the group of Indians uh, also often deal with the crab syndrome. Sorry. So in Indian crab syndrome refers to a mindset where some individuals hinder others' success out of jealousy and competitiveness, similar to the crab mentality. So in this phenomenon, rather than supporting peers who are advancing or excelling, individuals may try to pull them down, reflecting, reluctant to see others succeed. So the group of Indian, they will, let's say, in collective way, they will work that in this way that, for example, if some of this group want to do better, the rest of the group will do everything that they don't do too much because it's not the best way to collaborate. So we can explain this crab syndrome like this. And two more things when you talk about the communication. The first one is, like I said, Indian nut, also named like a head bubble or head wobble, or Indian head shake, refers to a common gesture in Southeast Asian and South Asian cultures countries, most notably in India. The motion usually consists of a side-to-side tilting of the head in arcs, somehow, let's say, something like this. And this is a form of nonverbal communication. It may mean different things. It may mean yes, or good, or maybe, or okay, or I understand, depending on the context. So remember that if your Indian subordinate does Indian nut and says yes, it does not necessarily mean that he or she agree with you or understand what you say to him, but most often it means that he heard you, that you talk to him. And it's a little bit tricky for us. I mean, for people who don't have this Indian note, because that could be difficult to understand the non-verbal gesture in the correct way. So when you doubt what does mean for you during the conversation, when you see this and hear yes, remember to, let's say, precise. So repeat some information or ask if everything is clear from the other side. Right. Okay, so when we look on the culture scale, so you can also hear that differences between Polish culture and the Indian culture is huge. I mean, Indian culture is truly high context communication culture, and the Poland is more low contextual culture. And so we also have some good practices when we talk about the collaboration with our Indian workers. So for a manager used to straightforward replies, this can be a tricky. An Indian crew might not nod and say yes, sir, to instructions out of respect or reluctant to disagree, even if they have concerns or didn't fully understand. So it's crucial to, like I say, recognize these subtle cues. For example, an Indian seafarer might respond, I will do my best. And remember, in the context of high context culture, the sentence, I will do my best, it might be a sign of problem because the sentence could be information that he don't understand something or he or she disagree. But in this culture, people usually don't tell you no in a simple way. So that is important sign to you. So this is in this context, you should always remember to read information between the communication lines, like we said previous. As a manager, probe gently and verify. So you might say when something is not clear, do you need any help or resources to finish something? Rather than assigning the polite yes means all is well. In high context interactions, context and harmony are the key to communication. So people may avoid direct refusals because saying no, like we said, saying no bluntly can be seen as hostile or disrespectful, especially when you are standing in the higher position at your company. So thus, one must learn to hear the no in a polite yes, signs of discomfort, hesitance, pause, an evasive answer, or even a non-committal will see suggest you should revise the question later on in a private situation. So do be patient and double check critical communications, paraphrase important instructions and ask them to repeat or demonstrate understanding to ensure nothing was lost in polite silence. Additionally, in a tight night setting like a ship, effective communication is a safety issue. So encourage crew members that it's okay to speak frankly about safety or operational concerns. You can create a culture where asking for qualification is welcomed to so they feel more comfortable overcoming the natural indirect style in critical moments. So being mindful of India's high context norms. So you will prevent misunderstandings. Don't take every yes as face value and look for the meaning behind the words. So you should always remember about this because this is the one of the most difficult part of the collaboration with our Indian colleagues. A couple of words about this ceremonialism. So let's take closer to look closer at some only chosen aspects of India non-verbal communication and social behavior important with daily collaboration. So I choose only, let's say, the most important. So etiquette business etiquette in India combines traditional manners and modern professionalism. So when greetings your Indian crew, a friendly namaste with a smile can create immediate warmth and let's say stimulate positive interaction. In professional settings, handshakes are also common, especially between the men. But always be mindful of cue. For example, some seniors or very traditional individuals might appreciate you using namaste instead of a casual hi, hello, or good morning. As a rule, showing respect is paramount. So greet the eldest or highest ranking person first in a group and use proper titles. Especially also remember Indian society is hierarchical. So when you want to discuss about something with the group, always start with the older one of this, let's say the chief, informal chief of the group. That will be the best solution. When you talk about the namaste, here you can see some photo with that. So the namaste is you put your hand like that and saying namaste. It's somehow it's religion, Hindu good morning, sign of goodwill, and it's also nice to know it, and from time to time use it. All right. What's more? Do not avoid offered tea and snacks. So if someone offered you something to eat, or even the team invites, or from someone from your team, Indian team, invites you to a meal, so always accept the invitation, because this is the key to build the trust and positive interactions, a positive atmosphere. Also remember about the personal space. Indian man may stand a bit closer to you during the conversation. So it might be read like aggressive from your side, but remember this is only, let's say, they need of closer space, nothing more. And it's good to remember about this. Next thing, and I think this one is even more important than previous these nonverbal things, is to remember the importance of the right hand. Whether passing tools, papers, or sharing food, use the right hand or both hands, never left hands. Indians traditionally consider the left hand as unclean for such interactions. So hitting someone something with your left hand alone can be offensive, more or less offensive. When it comes to conversation, keep topics comfortable. So family, hobbies, or the ship's next port of call are great, but avoid controversial or deeply personal subjects, some taboos, unless you know someone well. So avoid discussion about men-women relations and human discrimination in India, international relations with Pakistan, and relations with the China. Or do not criticize Indian government, because that's the group of taboos topics, and never ask about things like that. By observing these etiquette points, I think respectful greetings, mindful gestures, and the avoiding taboos, you will show cultural sensitivity and earn the respect of your Indian crew. I'm pretty sure that will works. That will work. And when we talk about the name, when we talk about the ceremonial things, and this subtle verbal, non-verbal communication is also good to know some general rules when we talk about the names and surnames, because that could be a little tricky for us. The general rule is simple, is regarding names and surname is like that, like this. So the first is the given name when you talk about the names and surnames in Indian case. So the first one is the given name, then the name of the father, which is rarely used outside India, and finally the surname also of the father, right? And when you talk about the marriage Indian human, so the rule is slightly different. So the first one is the given name, then the name of the husband, and which is usually not used at all. And then finally is the surname of the husband. And the issue of taking a surname after the husband works in India the same in the Poland, almost the same. So yeah, so here is a general rule, and it's also possible that due to the differences in tradition and cultural between between the north and the south of India. In some cases, the order of names and the surnames may be a little bit slightly different. So some Indians from the south use the place of birth at the beginning and then the name of the father and finally the given name. So it's opposite way than the previous. The best solution is to ask the person we met how to address her or him. Indian names usually mean something, and Indians love to talk about this name meanings. So this is a good theme for small talk. Below, you can see in the slide names and their meanings. Remember that some names are given to both men and women, and these names are unisex. For example, Kadal, which means ocean, or Dhruva, it's polar star, and it's a name for men and also for the women. So it's a little bit different than in the Polish or European men's and females names. And here, at last, think about the names. Here in this map, you can see the most famous names in every Indian provinces. Note some of these names. Some are the Christian origin, like for example, here Maria or Jose. Some are the Muslim names like Mohammed or Abdul in the north, and this shows the diversity of the region and their history. Okay, so we need to keep going because we don't have too much time. We have only 1 hour, so yeah. So now I would like to tell you something more about the art of evaluation. So the Indian culture is the culture where people, like I said, avoid confrontation and direct criticism. Some Indians are extremely sensitive to direct, unambiguous, and brutal criticism. So they prefer sensitive and subtle messages. Moreover, criticism is typically given in private without any witnesses. Remember about this. This approach helps prevent public embarrassment and maintains harmony within the team. So there's also a strong tendency to justify any negative evaluations, offering clear reasons or contexts to support the feedback. This not only makes the criticism more acceptable, but also demonstrates a genuine intention to help improve performance. So this approach to evaluation and criticism follows to the well-known to you the concept of losing face. We talked about this in the previous films. Like in the case of Indonesia and the Filipinos, Indians also protect their faces. And in the Indian case, the protection of face is even more important. Why? Because the face here in India have triple meaning. So the concept of losing face is closely tied to three interwoven ideas: izat, prestige; sharam, shame and decency; and meryada. So it means ethical standards. So when someone's actions breach these moral or social expectations, it can damage their reputation and bring shame upon both themselves and their family, so effectively causing them to lose face. So by maintaining hizad, respecting sharam, and adhering the maryada, individuals strive to uphold personal dignity and preserve social harmony. When you criticize person, you punch in all three elements of face, what is devastating to your Indian coworker, personally, and the group. So remember, don't be too harsh, even if you have the reason to be critical. And if you do this, if you criticize, I will repeat it, do this outside the group, only in the individual face-to-face discussion or communication or meeting. Okay, negative feedback, like you see, it's totally indirect negative feedback. India and a little bit more, some Arabic cultures are more indirect than India, so it's pretty indirect critic culture. And here you can see some good advices on Indian culture saying no outright is often avoided to prevent hard feeling or conflicts. So always give the negative feedback in a subtle way. Never scold or criticize individual. Like I said previous, be patient and focus on solution. Is the best solution is to, let's say, don't concentrate what was wrong, only try to find the best solution for the person and for the group, of course, and don't use confrontational language or harsh tone, because losing face and importance of this. To last to scale the leadership and the time. So when we talk about the leadership, we need to remember that when we consider similarities and differences between Polish culture, business culture, and Indian, here in the model of leading, we are the closest to each other, because Indian people, they prefer the hierarchical leading and managing, so like Poles. So the most effective decisions are made by the individuals who are standing higher in the position in the hierarchy. Planning works out best for top managements. So these are some characteristics. But moreover, we can say about some good practices in the case of hierarchical leading and managing. So let me tell something more about this. Here in the scale, you can see how close we are. And this is only one scale where Polish and the Indian culture is so close to each other. And this good advices. So when we talk about the good advices, first thing is, let me show here. A leader is expected to be a strong authority figure giving clear direction and decisions. So it's not the best idea to ask to discuss in the egalitarian way with your crew, Indian crew, what to do, how to solve the problem. They want you as a true strong leader, and they need it because there is a traditional hierarchical structural culture. So also you will find that they will talk with you with the all respect, because for them you are the sir or the captain, and don't push them to use the names. If someone will repeat you when he will answer for something, or when he will talk with you and he will use the sir or captain, let him do this, because for them they showing this way respect for you. So do not cross this line if they don't want to do this. They also want to pass paternalistic leader. So show that you protect your crew, that you wanted to help them with many different spheres, not only at work, and provide regular guidance, feedback, and oversight. It's the last thing. All right, and the final scale, so the plan, the time plan, and the work organization. And let me start this point from some, I think, interesting fact. So in Hindi, the word kal has two meanings: yesterday and tomorrow. The word parsu means the day after tomorrow and 2 days ago, and the word atarsu means 3 days after and 3 days before. So using the present tense to describe the past and the future makes time a fluid and ambiguous phenomenon. So in the case of India, the time is flexible. This is a proof of the extremely flexible approach to the Indians to time, which can be problematic in cooperation. So when you delegate tasks to be completed, you must embed them in time. So clearly explaining when they are to be performed. For example, it is essential to accurate the term and repeat them many times. For example, instead to saying for tomorrow, it's better to say for Tuesday, if the Tuesday is tomorrow, at 2:30, or instead of the day after tomorrow, say on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Your Indian coworkers need to know the clear point in the time, because they think about the time in a flexible way, and that could be a problematic for you and them. Look on the scale. Indian culture is flexible time scheduling, so it's totally different than in the case of some European countries like Poland or UK or Hungary. And good practices in the end of this module. So the time is money may not resonate in the same way in India. So many Indians have a saying that everything happens at own times. So in practice, this means that an Indian crew might not share the Western, your urgency for every deadline. So punctuality is respected in workplace, but a few minutes delay is usually tolerated. Remember about the Krebs syndrome, about how they do the task, and the best solution for you is to check how and when they done their activity, or let's say finish their work. As a manager, you can work with these cultural traits by clearly communicating with tasks, have no negotiable deadlines, especially when we talk about the safety at the ship, for example. So regular monitoring is even seen as a normal managerial duty in India. So you won't be micromanaging in their eyes by asking for progress updates. So rather you will be with as doing your job to keep things on track. So ask, check, progress updates, and that will be okay for your Indian co-workers. Time in India is sometimes seen as a guide, not at a dictator. And by planning, let's say, some buffers, or when you're checking something, it's good way to be on time with the task, and the best way to manage your team as best as possible. And I think that it's everything from my side, because we don't have too much time. So I hope this short presentation about collaboration with your Indian partners will help you to understand them. I mean, your Indian coworkers, and also help you with collaboration with them. I'm sure it will be an exciting and fascinating journey. I mean, the collaboration with your Indian partners, not only Indian, but also Indonesian or Filipinos. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for you. I wish you luck, and I hope that your collaboration will be as best as possible. Thank you very much, and goodbye.